protect trans children, protect trans adolescents, protect trans adults, protect our health care needs, protect our expression, protect us. We need your help. We need allies. It is inhumane, people. Inhumane to force people to be bigoted towards their coworker, towards their employee. We have to make changes, people. We cannot sit by idly and watch minority groups of our society be discriminated against in real time for no reason, for the reason of existing, for them wanting to express who they are. They are being punished legally. And these bills are becoming more and more egregious in their venomous attacks on our community. We have the power. Our vote counts. Our voices count. Hello, hello, and thank you for joining me. It's Brandi's World, and I'm Brandi Beckett. Today, we are taking a look at two anti-trans bills in Florida. One is the House Bill 599, and the other is the State Bill 1382. Why are you including two bills in your talk, Brandi? Good question. Why? Because they are exactly the same thing. I couldn't find a single word in either bill that was different from each other. They're both just the same thing. 599 was introduced into the House in November, and it's going through the process. I don't know if it's going to pass or not. Ugh, it's scary. And apparently, the people who wrote those bills were a little concerned as well, because they started the bill into the state. So they have a House Bill 599, and then they put the exact same bill, same verbiage, same writing, same words, and they put it into a State Bill 1382. And they did that on the 10th of January, I think, yes. So both of those bills are in process. I don't think they have been voted on. We'll keep you updated. But they are both scary bills. They deal with employment and nonprofits in the state of Florida. So, what they are saying is that based on your sexual characteristics from day one, what they mark on your birth certificate, and that's the only anchor point to go by your gender in the state of Florida. Just period. In the state of Florida, they want that. That is going to be the anchoring point for all of these bills, is gender no longer matters in the state of Florida. What matters is what was marked on your birth certificate. Was it an F or an M? And that's all they're going to recognize in Florida. And these bills are taking advantage of that. What the bills are saying, I'm going to put them up here so you can see. There's a House Bill, and then here's House Bill 599, and then there's 1382. It's a state bill. Exact same things. These bills are saying that if you are going to be employed in the state of Florida, you must tell them what the F or the M on your birth certificate. They don't care what kind of affirming care and affirming treatment you've had to express your gender identity, because they don't care about your gender identity. It's not about your gender identity. It's about control. And the controlling and isolating and excluding a group of people based on their sexual characteristics. Not just the sexual characteristics they have today, while doing the discrimination. They only care about the sexual characteristics that were presented at that person's day one into this world, at birth. Whether they had a dangly part between their legs or not a dangly part between their legs is all that is going to matter for the state of Florida if you're an employee there. And if you are at a nonprofit and a nonprofit tries to get money from the state-funded money, they cannot do that if they bring into their nonprofit training for employees or just people in general, talking about gender identity and gender expression. So nonprofits in Florida, they cannot get funding. And if they are affirming one's gender identity, if that gender identity differs from their sexual characteristic assignment at birth. So a trans person, a non-binary person, or a non-cis person is now legally being discriminated against if these bills pass. And if they pass, they go into effect on July 1st of this year. So this summer, if these bills pass, this summer, transgender people, non-cis people, non-binary people, all are going to lose their rights to be who they are in the workforce. So Ryan Chamberlain, this guy, Ryan Chamberlain is the champion who is sponsoring Bill 599 for the Florida House. So Jonathan Martin, he champions State House Bill 1382, which is simply a copy of House Bill 599, which is sponsored by Ryan Chamberlain. These people are trying to eliminate transgender people from their community. They are trying to erase us through their means, through these types of bills. They're erasing our identity and making us second-class citizens, writing this type of bill. So Jonathan Martin is a freshman senator. He's just getting started, and he is already in 2024 very prolific with the bills he is proposing. More than 30 thus far in 2024. Ryan Chamberlain is also a sort of young, he's 49. Both of these guys are going to be around for a while if people keep voting them in. These conservative Christian representatives are writing bills that are harming the trans community. These bills make the trans person and the trans allies, or anyone affirming that person's gender identity and their pronouns, recognizing their pronouns could get you fired from a job now. Recognizing someone's pronouns could cause a nonprofit to lose all their funding. Recognizing someone's pronouns and having empathy for that person get you fired from your job legally in the state of Florida if these bills pass. This is scary, y'all. This is very scary. Think about how many nonprofits rely on money, funds from the state, from their state to support their well-being. And now they're going to be forced to discriminate against someone's affirmation of their gender identity. They can't legally affirm their coworker. They can't legally affirm their employee. They must discriminate against them to stay within the legality of these bills. And if that doesn't scare you, I don't know what does. What is it going to take to wake people up and say, yo, transgender people are under attack in these United States, in states like Florida, which is not the only state writing these kind of scary bills. These are just 2 bills of more than 100 bills that are anti-trans that have been written in these United States thus far in 2024. There is a direct attack on transgender, non-binary, and non-cis people. In 2021, I'm gonna put up some statistics here. In 2021, there was numerous bills, dozens of bills. Some of them passed. 2022, a bunch more bills. 26 of those passed, I think? A lot of bills. And then 2023, there were more than 500 anti-trans bills written in these United States. All of these states are writing bills right now this year in 2024 that are anti-trans, anti-non-binary. They're making it illegal for us to exist, and they're trying to do this through our legal systems. They're trying to strip the rights away from transgender people. We need allies to step up in this situation. We need your help. We need people to stand firm and say, I will not stand for this type of discrimination against American citizens simply because they're affirming their gender identity. It is un-American. It should be un-American. If it's not un-American, it should be un-American to discriminate and hate a person because of who they are. Now that I say that, I'm feeling kind of silly because I'm thinking about American history. Oh, goodness. It should never be illegal within the borders of our United States to express who you are. This is wrong, people. It is wrong in this 2024. It was wrong last decade. It was wrong the decade before that, and it will be wrong 2 decades from now. It is not a time in society when affirming someone's identity is bad. I feel like we flip things on its head. Affirming someone's identity of who they are can cost you your livelihood in the state of Florida if these bills pass. It is inhumane, people. Inhumane to force people to be bigoted towards their coworker, towards their employee. It's not fair. For 30 years before going back to school, I was in the workforce as a hetero, cis, white male. And that's how I was read in the workforce. And for 30 years, I was an ideal employee. I had no issues. I had awards for the work I have done. After transitioning, for the first time in 30 years of working in the workforce, I was fired. And I was fired without write-up. I was fired without reasonable cause, I felt. And when I was reading the transcripts between the company who fired me and the unemployment insurance company, they were both using my dead pronouns back and forth. When I was hired onto this place of employment, I had all of my government IDs, my driver's license, my state driver's license, my United States passport, my social security card. All of those things have a legal F on them for my womanhood. They ignored that and they used my dead pronouns to talk about me after I was fired. Gives me strong beliefs that I was fired because I was trans. The company I was working for, I was working as a satellite here in Massachusetts. They loved me here. They were confused why I was fired. My supervisor in the headquarters of the place, based out of Tampa, Florida. I thought about fighting that unfair getting fired, but looking back, I was like, yeah, I wasn't going to win that fight. I'm not going to, there's no chance of winning that fight now. And I think about people who are employed in Florida right now. You know, the entire time I was employed with that company, I don't think my coworkers were aware that I was trans. I think someone dug in and found out I was trans and then fired me immediately. Those are my suspicions. I was treated differently just as a woman in the workforce, and that was shocking and eye-opening. But being read as and treated as an othered and labeled as trans and not being, and having your co-workers, your cohort, your supervision, your management above you, not only not affirm who you are within their company, but actively discriminate against you by using dead pronouns. I couldn't imagine the terror I would have to face every day going into that situation at work. How many tears do they expect you to roll down your cheek through the day and finish your work? How do they expect you to hold yourself high and proud of the work you do when the state of Florida is forcing them to look at you as lesser and not affirm your identity? How could I work for a company like that? How could anyone else work for a company like that? They are putting transgender people and non-binary people, non-cis people in impossible situations in the workforce in Florida. And this is intentional. This is a game plan that they want to lay out. There's no more dog whistles about trying to erase the existence of transgender people. They're not dog whistling right here. They're writing it on the wall. They're telling us that you as a trans person, you, Brandi, as a trans person, don't go to Florida. Don't work. If you decide to get a job here in Florida, we will be bigoted towards you. And if they're not, they can take legal actions. I'll give you a scenario. Let's say I moved down to Florida. I lived in Florida for 2.5 years. I have lots of fond memories about Florida. There's lots of people in Florida today I care about. I enjoyed my time in Florida. I nearly moved back to Florida after graduating. But let's go on this hypothetical. Let's say I move to Florida and I get a job. Look like me. My Massachusetts driver's license, my passport, all of my IDs, as I said, female. When I get to Florida, due to another bill they're trying to pass, if that bill 1639 goes through, I will legally have to change my Fs. I couldn't change it on my passport. So then I would legally have to change my state ID in Florida if 1639 somehow goes through and these other bills pass. I will have to change my state ID, my driver's license, and take off my womanhood identity on there. Take off that F. And they will force me to put an M on there. And then say I want to travel somewhere. Now I have a passport and a state ID that do not agree with each other. That could be an issue for me traveling. Do you think not? So that's a huge issue. And then say I ignore that issue and I do get a job there and I start working and I work next to employee B. I'm employee A. Employee B is a decent person who has empathy and understanding when they approach their coworkers and the world around them. And employee B goes, "Oh, Brandi, nice to meet you. Oh, I noticed on your paperwork that they forced us to do here that we have to put an M on your things, but I noticed that you don't express and you don't read as M. Is this a mistake?" No, it's not a mistake. Florida has you. They must discriminate against me. It's not my identity. It's not my M. It's not mine. And in fact, I've been recognized in these United States, not only by national, but by other states, as my identity. They have affirmed my womanhood with the F on these others. But now I must change it. And if you affirm me, employee B, you can get in trouble. So what does employee B do? Now they're faced with, what do they do? Do they affirm Brandi Beckett as Brandi Beckett, as the awesome woman Brandi Beckett is, that they can see and recognize? They can get in trouble doing that with these state bills. And now employee C comes along, and employee C isn't tapped into empathy as much as employee B, and is really caught up in propaganda going around this country about hating certain people because reasons. And employee C says, "Oh, I saw on that paperwork that Brandi Beckett has to have an M. Therefore, I get to call Brandi Beckett whatever the F I want." Or I'll just use the pronouns that Brandi Beckett does not want me to use because I can. I feel emboldened to do that. So now emboldened employee C is using pronouns that are dead to Brandi Beckett. And employee B is wanting to talk to employee C and say, "Employee C, please don't discriminate against Brandi. She's new here. She's a nice person. She's trying to get her work done. And it's not nice to do those kinds of things." Now employee C says, "Well, Aunt Karen tells me that I don't have to put up with that kind of abuse on me. You can't tell me who I can say what to and who I can give pronouns to. I can do whatever I want." So employee C says, "I'm going to management. Management, what do we do about this situation? Who should get in trouble?" Management would now be forced to look to State Bill 1382 or House Bill 599 and say, "Well, I guess Brandi and employee B, they're going to have to get fired. Maybe we can take away all their bonuses." So we can do lots of things. It's up to us now. Legally, we can do whatever we want to them because they're in the wrong. I'm not reading this incorrectly. It protects employee C to be bigoted against employee A and employee B. And if employee A and employee B try to push back, they're in the wrong. This anti-trans bill, these anti-trans bills are dangerous. They are harmful. And they are direct attacks on transgender people, non-cis people, and non-binary people. We have to make changes, people. We cannot sit by idly and watch minority groups of our society be discriminated against in real time for no reason, for the reason of existing, for them wanting to express who they are. They are being punished legally. And these bills are becoming more and more egregious in their venomous attacks on our community. Senator Jonathan Martin, here's his contact information. Write to your senator. Voice your opinion. Help the trans community. Protect us. We need your allyship. We need your voice. Write to them. Call them. We must fight back by reaching out to our representatives. And if you are in their district, their range of representatives, write to them. Urge them not to be so harmful in their bills. Urge them not to harm people for existing and expressing who they are. Here's the contact information for Ryan Chamberlain. Here is the contact information for Senator Jonathan Martin. I urge you to reach out and contact these people. Voice your opinion. Let them know that it is not okay to treat humans in this manner, especially United States citizens, and especially the cohort citizens living next to you. Protect trans children, protect trans adolescents, protect trans adults, protect our health care needs, protect our expression. Protect us. We need your help. We need allies. We have the power. Our vote counts. Our voices count. Reach out to your representative and help us. Hate and discrimination against groups of people for existing and expressing who they are is not okay in these times. It is never okay in any times. But it will take actions to stop these egregious bills. Thank you. I'm going to leave you, as I always do, with this message. Love yourself, but more importantly, like yourself, and treat people the way they want to be treated. Bye-bye for now.